Boom everybody, welcome back to Carnac Holistics. Today I am going to show you a bit of archive history or some of the work that I do and some of the books that I use when I'm doing spell work. So I'm titling this video Spell Books. See you after these messages. So welcome back. My name's Sage. I'm from Carnac Holistics, where we learn together and we grow together in the sight of God. So today I want to speak about spell books and some of the spell books that I use, and when I'm using some work and people ask me to do some spiritual spells for them and cleansing and or removing of hexes, things of that nature. Some of the books that I do use and some of the books I refer to, and also, but there's many different facets, but I just wanted to show you, I think it's about 4 I want to cover that I just want to just say that it's my go-to kind of first step at looking at doing the spells. Now, for a while now, most of my work when I do spell work, I use the moon a lot. And the sun, but predominantly the moon, and the lunar movements, because I originally started as an astrologer. So anyway, I use the moon and I use the lunar movements of the particular moon where it sits. So I use also, as the moon moves from waxing into waning, into a new moon, into a full moon, all these powerful shifts within those lunar changes makes a big impact on what spells I do and how I do the spells and so on and so forth. It's a bit more technical. What I do a video on the moon, which I think is so key. So I'm a witch or sorcerer, whatever you want to call it, but I'm a sorcerer witch. So I don't belong to a coven. I just follow the faith. I use herbs. I also use divination. I kind of use whatever I feel was right for me to use. That's what I use. So that's my kind of background, and I feel it's so important for you to understand why and how I do things. You've got some people who are divination witches or sorcerers, and they just use divination, i.e. using the mind's eye, or so using kind of like clairvoyance. Some people use herbs. Just herbs. Some people just use food, or some people just use prayers. There's all ranges. I kind of cover them all because I work with different deities, and different deities use different things and inspire me to do those. If I haven't said before, my guides, I call them the collective. So if I refer to them as the collective, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about those who help me spiritually in the other world and help me in this world when I'm working with people. So the reason I wanted to do this video, between the videos I'm doing, my series of videos based around the hero's journey, I wanted to talk about this spell work because I've been commissioned about 4 to 5 spells to do right now for people, and obviously I'm not going to speak about that because this is not what the video is about. This video is about the kind of, I just thought, you know what, I haven't really spoken about the spiritual side, or I call it the academic spiritual side of me, because you know it's where I refer to books and things of that nature. But when I refer to books, it's normally when I'm guided to them. So I've got 4 books today. And I'm going to maybe reflect a lot back to my early teachings when I was with my dad. He's passed when I was 25, actually 24. But I'll explain that, but I'm getting on. So the first book I want to speak about today is an amazing book. I think is awesome, which is called Witchcraft and Magic Spells. It's a practical guide to witchcraft and magical spells by Cassandra Eason. She is awesome, and I've done lots of work with this particular book. It has over 318 pages. It talks about things like beginning of magic, candles, colors, the zodiac, herbal magic, crystals, oils, healing magic, rituals, and moon magic, and so on and so forth. This book does really, as you can see, is really powerful. It is awesome. It retails, it could be cheaper now. It is at $13.99, but I bought this a couple of years ago, so it's probably, don't know what price it is now. But you should be able to find it on Amazon, where I get my source of books from. Second one is with a powerful, with the same author. I met her a couple of years ago. Again, it's Cassandra Eason. This book's called A Complete Book of Spells. Now, I feel this is, for me, a lot more wider, and you can see I've got a lot more kind of like bookmarks about who I'm working with. There's 752 pages here. In this book, she is awesome, I have to say, and she's such a lovely woman. She covers spells from love to personal happiness to success at work to success with money and prosperity, protection, and also healing spirit animals as well, which is or spells for animals, for example. And let me just reflect on that, because a friend, my best friend, had her dog getting in for an operation, and it wasn't going to be too good. So I did a spell. I asked my collective, and they said, yep, we can do something to help. And basically, the dog would have lost its leg. So it only had 3 legs. So in the natural, it said, you know what, it's going to lose its leg. And I said to my best friend, nah, I cannot see that your dog without 4 legs, just not right, just can't see it. Let me help, and I just need your blessing. So she said, yeah, go for it. So I did, and I used this book and some other, I think I used the structure of this book, and then I used some other added stuff to enhance it a bit more. And it worked. So she's like eternally grateful, obviously. It also does spells about the planet, and also how to create your own spells. And this does delve in. It's such an easy read and such easy to work with. You really do feel like you're really doing a craft when you've got the book sitting there next to you when you're doing your magic, or you're putting things together. It's really quite powerful. The other one, I'm just gonna lean over and get these books. The other one, which is one of my trendsetters, is called, is Sandra Illis. It's the element of Encyclopedia of 5,000 spells. So that's the book there. That is done by Element. Now this book is thick, well and truly, and it is heavy. It's so heavy. 5,000 spells, I'm not joking. It's the dogs, you know what. It's got 1,104 pages of spells. It is awesome. Now, I hear you think, now I've got over 20 spell books, and 4 of them I'm just talking about. In this video, I'm going to talk about some others and why I use those. I've been wondering, why did I choose only 4? And I could have done this video for about an hour with some of the books I've got and why I use them. Now, this book, right, is awesome. This book, I'm just looking at it now because when I work with it, I just particularly go to a particular part of the book and I work with it. So I'm looking at the contents. And here it talks about part 1 about the elements of the spell. And then it speaks about the spell itself. And then it goes in more in depth and speaks about divination, spells and divination, the evil eye. And I'm building up to why I chose this book and why it's 5,000 spells. It's got healing spells, it's got love spells, marriage spells. Now, I mentioned that, and also got hexing spells. I was about love spells because a couple of years ago, I think this is about 2 years after I purchased this book. Someone commissioned me to work with them because their relationship was in turmoil, and no matter what they seem to do, it just doesn't seem to be right. So I worked with them. The collective said, yep, boom, crack on, sort it. So I did, and I went to this book, and they were literally together 2 years, rocky time, clearly love each other. And so I did a spell, not to keep them together and enforce them to stay together. There was this negative, dark energy that was surrounding them. So what I did, I cleared the energy, I removed the negative energy from past relationships and the blockages that were there, and I just gave them a blessing spell from this book for love. And 11 years later, well, how many years later it was, they have a child now and very happy married. They actually don't live in the UK now, I think they moved abroad. So happy here from time to time. So I'm feeling good when I use this spell, this book. Other bit, when I need to go and remove a hex, when you got families hexing each other, left, right, centre, yes, that does happen. And they come to me to remove negative energies or remove any hexes. Again, speak to the collective for protection, for if I should do it. Do I get involved? Should I get involved? And again, sometimes I refer back to this book. Now, reason why I'm talking about this book covers every form of spell. When I say that, I'm talking about every form of type of, how can I put it? Kind of like the origins of the spell. So you're looking at voodoo, you're looking at Persian spell, Egyptian spells, kind of like tree spells. There's one for fertility. There's it also covers Wicca. It also covers Druids. It covers so much, and it's really good. It also talks about it does herbal spell. It is good. So that book is called The Element of Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells. Now, moving on. This book here is a Mcdaddy. Now, this book dates back to, I don't even know when. I'm not even going to start even trying to generalize. But there's a history to it with me and history to this book. Now, when I was a youngster, as you do, when I was probably about 7 or 8, probably about 8, my dad had the original book. My dad used to do spells as well. And I remember going to his cupboard and he had this little like sewing kit box he used to keep his books in, and they're all wrapped up, and I used to go in it and like try and memorize bits and pieces of the spells. Anyway, he had this book, and the book it's not so much a spell book, it's a seal book. So seal is not a seal as the animal as in, or the army. It's a seal as in seals, like SEAL, that you lay down. Now this book is called The 6 and 7 Books of Moses. Now this book, I've got 3 versions. I've got this version, which I refer to a lot, and I'll show you the inside in a minute. And I've got the original one I had, and I had my dad's version, which my dad had since the 50s or even earlier than that. Now, if you don't know about, this is about 338 pages. Now, the history about now the history with this, why I say it's important. The 6th and 7th books of Moses, right? I'm going to do a video based on Moses and spell casting, because Moses, these books, you've got the different Psalms, the different books in the Old Testament, and Moses wrote charms, he wrote spells and blessings back in the day. And there is also a 1, 2 and a 3, and there's a 4 and there's a 5 books of Moses. And I believe there's also an 8 and a 9 and a 10 and an 11. And those, let me give you a bit of advice. When you borrow books out to people, make sure you track who's got them, because people like to wander off of them. So I don't lend books out now. I just kind of stingy like that. But it's so cheap to get. So I'm replacing my books now. But look how amazing that is. It's awesome. When I talk about these seals, like breastplates and things like that, these things you can leave in the ground or you can place them, it depends what it is, but look at that, it's just awesome. Some of these things you can get online, to be fair, but it's just beautiful just to have this book. It is just awesome. Now this book was bought for me by my fiance, because I was saying, you know what, I'm gonna buy it because I don't really want to use my one that I work with, but I'm kind of glad she did, and I refer to that as my go-to spell book. So now the other part I wanted to say about spell casting, don't just go out there and start throwing spells out left, right and center, because so many times I'll come across people who, for example, get the Ouija board and then start doing a Ouija board, and then next minute they're plagued and they got all these dark entities harassing them and so on. It's not a game. This is real heavy shit. This isn't a game. This is so important. When you start doing stuff like this, you could cause demonic, satanic, or major negativity, karma falling back on you. If you're gonna go and do this, do it properly. Learn about it. Learn about the craft. You know, don't mess. It's not something to mess around. I'm really up on that. And even my own children, you know, especially my oldest, he is like, though they're both spiritual, they're just not ready for that yet, because that's just not where they're at yet, you know. And with my dad, I've always loved the idea of being a kind of a sorcerer, or the magic behind it. Now let me explain. This isn't Merlin, this isn't Camelot and all that business, you know, this isn't Lord of the Rings, Gandalf and all that business. It's the intention. Now I came into this, or I was kind of guided into this, or I fell in love with this craft and developed my craft because I wanted to help people. I wanted to, and I also was gifted. Yeah, that was the big part that's the major part actually. But it's patience. Sometimes spells don't always work because it's the intention behind the spell. So if you're gonna just think you're gonna get a spell book and you're just gonna go bang a couple out left, right and center, and they some work, some don't, that's good, keep going, you know. But a bit of advice, have the intention, have a journal. It's called a Book of Shadows. Use it as your free thinking book. I've got two. I've got one that sits on my altar, and I've got one that is always with me, that I always write ideas down if I've got some kind of the collective tell me something and I need to do something with that particular spell because I've been working on it, shifts. So it's important that you have a journal, a book of shadows. It's your private reflection, if you want to call it, of your spellcraft, of your growth. I love doing books, videos like this, because it's what I am at now and where I'm going to be and how I've always been. And seeing a mother worrying about their child and then they're being off the rails and being plagued by whoever, and then being like the A-team, they come to you and say, look, this is the situation, I don't know what to do, or husband is just won't leave and they're just controlling the partner, and then they come to you and say, can you help? And you get the okay. I have to say, out of the work that I do, the research is the biggest bulk of the craft. So researching the time where the moon's going to be, what kind of spell I should use, if I should use candles, crystals, herbs, oils, whatever. It's so key. Do I need to get the client involved? Does the client need to do the action? You know, do I need names of the client? Do I need other bits? It's not a clear-cut scenario, and there's so much that goes into it. And some people are just so focused on, okay, I got my little bookie spell, I'm going to turn my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend or whoever into a frog. You know, it doesn't work like that. Because karma comes back, that's the other part, is karma. Karma comes back on you if you get it wrong or right. The intention, if you're coming from a pure place, pure PayPal, if you come from a pure place, it's going to not come back on you because you're giving. And when I say when you give, it will only come back to you positively, you know. So, you know what? Don't mess it up. Keep at it. Just keep focused. Keep the craft, keep the faith. Because as you grow, you will fall in love with it. It's kind of like golf. If you like it, you don't. You know, it's one or the other. And some people are not spell creators or ritual crafters or witches. They can be a range of different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I'll do a video based upon what you may be and what reflection and the signs you should look out for. There's so much I want to record for you guys. It is so massive. I've just got so much that I just want to share because there is so much you can learn, and it can benefit you and help you in work, at home, with your children, with this whole thing, the pandemic, with your car, with everything, with friends, with family, you know. And sometimes just doing a spell for somebody with a pure intention, without them knowing, it does come back on you. It's called karma, positive karma. The other big, powerful part of spell casting is gratitude. When it works or when it don't work, still have gratitude because you're learning. If it doesn't work, you're learning. What did I do wrong? And they will show you. And if you get it right, gratitude, thank you so much for that happening. And it reinforces that energy to push you forward. So that's me done on my spell books. I hope that's helped. You get any comments, please like below. Again, some of the books I think that I refer to, I just go to. So if some things I've left out or not, or put it in that is not seem to be relevant to the book, I'll just say look at the book because they're just awesome. What I'll do, I'll put the video, the pictures on the videos as I'm putting it through, so you can see what the covers look like. So anyway, stay blessed, stay safe, and love from the eternal flame. Namaste.